Okay, so who's on now? We have David on one. Let's see what he has to say. Hi, you're on the air.
Hello, how are you doing?
We are well.
I have a question for each one of you.
Yes, sir.
What is your purpose of life? Yours individually. What is your purpose?
Who wants to start?
Sure, we'll go this way to that. Purpose in life is something that I have given it. I've decided that my family, my friends are really important to me, and I'm going to do, whatever I can to try and, enjoy life with them. My job is really important. I have a lot of fun at it, so that has a lot of meaning for me too. It's basically just trying to make a mark on the world. So have people realize and enjoy life and try and make a difference. Make somebody else's life better because I've been around. So that would be a good thing.
Yeah. I would agree with that largely. I have to say, my purpose in life is to contribute as best I can.
Yeah.
Do the things that I enjoy and do those things in such a way that maybe they'll, bring a little joy to some other folks. My career is, I'm creative in my career. I've been an artist. I'm moving into filmmaking, things like that, and I want to do things that are positive in a creative sense. So that would be my career choice. In my friendships, I just want to, be there for the people that I care about, and just, you always want to make sure that you're in the time that you've got, that you just, spread as much. Yeah. Just so that you're remembered fondly, and that you inspire people to do other things that are good for other folks. Yeah. So that's what I've decided.
Yeah. To me, my goal in life is to do what I can to make life better for everybody now, but to also improve it for the next generation. It's like when my nephew's my age, maybe because of me, his life will be easier, there'll be different things he can do, or his kids have a better life just because I was here.
Okay.
Yes, let me ask you this. Do you think that your concept of purpose has any effect or is in agreement with the purpose of anyone else's life that's on the face of the earth?
I don't know. You'd have to ask them. I mean, I think that most people in any culture that you look at fundamentally want the same things. They want to be happy in their lives. They want to feel safe and secure. They want to have ties with people close to them, whether it's family or friends. I think that's really what most people, just in anywhere you go to, from America to Zimbabwe, you're going to find people fundamentally want the same things. They want to be safe, they want to be healthy and happy, and they want to get along.
Then where do all these people come from that are causing the problems then?
I think that, you find a lot of ideology. When you have either very strong religious or political ideologies, it leads to things like people not being cooperative with one another, and you run into conflicts between one group of folks saying we're right, the other group of folks saying no, we're right. And so that's why you have the Muslims and the Jews fighting. That's why you have the Catholics and the Protestants killing each other in Northern Ireland. That's why you have Islamic extremists crashing planes into buildings. It's not always religious, though. Of course, it can be political. You have like democracy versus fascism in World War II. Democracy versus communism in Vietnam. Yeah. So it's extremist political and religious ideologies. I think you will always find at the root of major human conflicts.
And these ideologies just spring from humans. Is that what you're saying?
I think so. Yeah.
Show up in all little groups over here and little groups over there. All agree with each other. For instance, I'm going to say it this way. I've heard very often that religions are at the base of all of these problems we face. Under Stalin, there were 60 million people in the Soviet Union killed, literally,
right,
or more.
Right. Well,
under Hitler, millions of people were killed. Under the Pol Pot, Cambodia, 2.5, 3 million people literally slaughtered. In Rwanda, 2.5 million slaughtered with machetes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think those would be
we say
those would be political ideologies. Okay, those would be atrocities as a result of political ideologies.
Are
okay?
you excusing it because it's political?
No, I'm
not.
saying that that's the reason. I'm not
saying the reasoning is different.
Yeah, I mean, the political idea, there are, for example, like you have religious ideologies such as Al-Qaeda, such as, the Roman Catholic Church in the medieval times with the Inquisition, with, with the Crusades, various pogroms, and of course you have Northern Ireland today. So there are examples of conflicts that are based on religious ideologies, and then you have stuff like communism and fascism, which are political ideologies.
Now, let me ask you this.
So they're not all religious. But, okay.
The things that you were saying you wanted was really to spread good things among people that you knew.
Right.
What if you lived in Rwanda? What if you had lived under Stalin?
Well, I would try to get out of there.
Would you have gone to fight? Would you have gone to lay your life down for someone else?
I would like to think that if I were in Stalinist Russia, I probably would have been one of the millions of people that he killed in his purges.
But
in Rwanda,
you would not go to defend other people.
Well, I would probably, depending. I mean, these are hypothetical situations.
Yeah,
I mean,
depends on your beliefs and your situation. I mean,
yeah.
I can't say what would I do if I were, in a certain situation, because I may not know.
Yeah, I mean, I would like, if I were in the situation where there was some sort of horrible tyrant, right, trying to put me down, well, I would, try to resist that as best I could. If I ended up having to leave the country, okay, like you had Jews who got smart very early on and saw what was coming with the rise of National Socialism and got the heck out of there. I would, if that's what you had to do sometimes, to just leave, if you had to leave your land and leave where you grew up simply because the people in power that were coming into power were just too dangerous and massive of a force, to move and then maybe fight the fight from elsewhere. Like you had in World War II, you had a lot of Jewish scientists and intellectuals leave Germany, leave Poland, Austria, leave those areas prior to the outbreak of World War II. They came to America. Yeah. And helped and many of them helped in our war effort.
And not only to help in the war effort with the scientific stuff, but just the general people telling everybody else
this is what's going on. Yeah.
It added to the outrage.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, everyone would like to believe they'd be as strong as they possibly could. I mean, I certainly wouldn't just sit back if I saw a massive injustice taking place and just say, oh well, there's nothing I can do about it. But if the thing that I could do about it didn't involve just standing in front of a tank like the guy in Tiananmen Square. I mean, you can do that if or that's a certain level of courage, or you can do it other ways just by making it known. You can
spreading your own
idea, small ways.
Spreading your own idea that there's a better way to.
Hopefully, we'll never have
to run the world.
Yeah. Hopefully, we'll never have to endure that. I mean, hopefully, what is great about our society, what's great about America, is that you do have this sort of free and open exchange of ideas in the public sphere. Yeah. You don't, admittedly, you don't have that in more oppressive regimes. Yeah. And so, what I think is very precious in this country is to sort of keep this dialogue going, so that nobody from any ideology, whether it's from the right or the left, can put a stop to that. And I'm sad that I'm already seeing it to a certain degree being the accepted way of thinking here in this country, that dissent is bad. If you dissent at all against whatever the Bush administration is doing, you're a bad American, you're a traitor, what have you. It's crazy that what a lot of the political extremists in this country are starting to say. I mean, these are very un-American concepts that really need to be nipped in the bud and say, no. I mean, there's nothing wrong with challenging authority. In fact, I think if you really do believe that authority is in the wrong, you've got a moral duty to challenge it.
That's why we have elections every 4 years, so we can challenge the authority.
Anything else?
Well, I would just like to tell you what I think.
Okay.
I think, and I perceive that there is evidence for this, that there really is good and there really is evil. Mm-hmm. And when real good is constantly questioned, the belief, the essence of it, as far as the individual is concerned, it destroys what we look at as good.
So you're saying
what would be?
Evil has, imagine you've heard of Hegelian thought, where you're constantly questioning. The whole concept of Hegelian thought is to question what is good, what is the purpose that another person has, whether it's good or bad. It is intolerant in the Hegelian thought to be a Christian, because a Christian has a definite belief. And from the scriptures, certain statements are made that are intolerant. So what I'm saying is, in a world where I perceive there is good, there is evil, it is bad news for all of us to see real good attacked.
Well, I would have, my first question to you, of course, is to define real good. I mean, what are you referring to when you refer to this real good that's being attacked?
Real good can only come from God.
Okay, I mean,
The reason
explain
is,
that.
it is not, God is not me.
Wait a minute.
I am not defining.
Wait a minute. Explain that, though. How can real good come from God? I mean, it would still have to have. There would still have to be a reason why that thing was good, even if it came from God, and that reason would exist independently of God. I mean, whether real good comes from
That's
God.
a statement that is sort of confining to God, isn't it? It would have to do what?
Well,
Yeah,
well,
I mean-
there has to be a reason that killing someone is bad. I mean, if it's just arbitrarily handed down that killing is bad, rape
Yeah,
is bad,
don't do it
then
because I
means
say don't do it.
absolutely nothing if you can't think of a reason as to, wow, murder sucks because reason 1, 2, and 3.
If
Yeah, you have to explain
take
what-
into account the rest of the scripture, you understand that it is.
Well, wait a minute. I want to get to the
because
root of what you're talking about, though. I mean, it's whether good and again, as I say, I don't. Of course, we disagree with this, but how it is that this can just be a thing that is handed down by an authority figure who says, this is what is good. I mean, the thing that is good would still have to have a reason why it was good, whether it was handed to you by an authority figure or whether it was decided upon by a cultural consensus or by an individual. There would still have to be reasons why the thing was good, and those reasons would exist independently of the person who decided it was good. And that goes for God as well as man.
I would call into question some of the things you've said there.
Go right ahead.
Number one is to state that good has to be separate from God.
Okay, this is all you haven't even. Well, first, we haven't even proven God exists. All right,
Yeah.
so this is a hypothesis.
Yeah.
So I don't even really know what it means.
I am not trying to prove that he exists.
Well, you're trying to
I
make the
am
moral
trying-
argument for God, so you are trying to prove God exists.
No,
I mean,
you are saying that he doesn't exist, but you're not coming up with proof that he doesn't.
we don't believe in
Yeah.
God, and we don't bear the burden of proof. Okay.
Because we have no proof of God, we
Yes.
don't believe in one.
Yes. Okay.
My proof has been in what I read in the scripture and what I have
Mm-hmm.
seen. I have been in many locations on the face of this earth,
Mm-hmm.
and I have seen that what was stated in the scriptures thousands of years ago is still true, that mankind has still not evolved into some psychologically great animal. We are still a creature that is very different and separate from the animals. And we have similar concepts that we follow. And some of them are good, and a great number of them are evil.
So you do-
In other words, they produce things that are not good for a good number of people.
Yeah, but you don't think that people have developed at all in that regard in terms of getting rid of old bad ideas that weren't helpful and that weren't working?
Psychologically, is that what you're talking about?
Well, just culturally. I mean, you're saying that you don't think the human race has evolved into thinking that, okay, here's an idea that we tried out for a while and it turned out to be bad for folks, so we're not doing that anymore. Is that what you mean when you say that you don't think humans have evolved into greater sophistication in that regard? I mean...
Well, and I'm going to express myself, and I mean no harm to anyone by saying this,
Yeah.
but I really find it preposterous to hear that we want to be new and not have wars and such, and to exist in the real world and to think that is preposterous.
Why?
There is a constant struggle, there is a constant battle out here outside of the United States, because we live in a bubble where there are people who are protecting us daily that we never hear about. They die daily all over the world protecting us. And we can sit here and say, we don't like war because we won't get along. Well, if you want to go out into the world and really try to get along, you better get accustomed to dealing with pirates.
Well, you know, not liking war does not mean that there are times when you have to, you won't have to face reality and look at yourself and say a situation that's like the only way we can vanquish this thing that is a threat to us is through conflict. I don't think that soldiers who are war heroes like war. I think that just about everyone deplores it, but at the time it is an unfortunate necessity when it is the only way to resolve a major conflict. It doesn't happen as often as it could, though, because I think for the most part people cooperate. It's only when you run into, again, like I said, these conflicting ideologies that you get those kinds of sharp conflicts. But I think, as we stated before your call, I don't know if you heard us, but it is natural for people to want to cooperate with each other. But it is admittedly, though, our civilizations and the way they have developed, and we have developed our civilizations along different lines, is that even though I think overall most people have the same fundamental moral precepts under which they live, the differences will sprout ideologies, and then the ideologies will generate their own extremists, and not everyone who follows a particular ideology is an extremist. Not every liberal is a wacko. Not every conservative is a wacko.
The concept of that we are generally wanting to cooperate is to ignore what has gone on in Europe. I mean, the people were separated, and they have separated intentionally. They came up with completely different languages.
Yeah,
they have not cooperated with people outside of their borders for centuries.
And that is the cultural influence taking place.
We have the same thing here. We have the same thing in China. We have the same thing in Russia.
Sure.
Yeah, but also look at the flip side of the coin. We are the United States of America. Europe is now the European Economic Community. I mean, it's a joining force. It's people realizing that, hey, if I'm a different faction from everybody else, it doesn't work nearly as well as if I work with them to actually get something done.
There's the idea behind the United Nations. I don't know how well it's panned out, but overall, after World War II, you got the United Nations, which was all rooted in this idea of, okay, let's try to cooperate so that we don't have a World War III.
Exactly.
Now. Does that desire automatically make all ideologies evaporate and everyone has a big group hug session? No, it's not as easy as that. You're quite right in that it does require constant work. But fortunately, I mean, there's that work doesn't always take the form of violent conflict.
If you take the UN, for instance, that you just spoke about, where the people say they want to cooperate, look at what they do. Look at the legislation that is produced there. It is to get away from the voting of the individual and to have a consensus where there is no vote and where it doesn't matter if you join or not. If the consensus is large enough, then it is law.
Well, that's politics,
that
right?
Not cooperation.
That's called politics, right?
No, that's worse than politics. That's called taking over.
Well, no, it's called I mean, every member country in the United Nations gets to vote on a thing.
No, I'm saying they don't. They don't vote.
Well, you can abstain.
Hear me from what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The systems that they have set up that deal with Agenda 21, the biodiversity, all of these were not voted on. A consensus was formed. That is a quote. Consensus was formed.
Well, then, if a consensus was formed, there may not have been a need for a vote.
Exactly. I mean, if you can get everyone.
The Kyoto Treaty is there was a consensus effort to get it done, and the United States pulled its signature off of it.
Yeah, and I think that which I think was misguided. But yeah, I mean, that's politics. That's all you're describing.
And it sounds like what they're trying to do there.
We're talking about taking over.
Yeah, but it sounds like what they're trying. Like what they're trying to do there is when you get several people together, you can either say, okay, I want to spend $1 million to do this. Now let's vote on it. Or you can say, I want to spend $1 million and here's why I want to do it. If you can get everybody to agree with you because you have a really good reason for doing such, then that's a much better way of doing things than saying, I don't care about the arguments, I'm just going to vote yay or nay.
Okay.
I would rather be able. I would
Yes.
rather be able to get everybody to work together and realize that okay, the reason we're doing this is because we have good reasons for it, and here's what they are.
Yeah, and if your arguments are
That's much
sound
better.
and are persuasive,
Exactly.
you can reach a consensus without
Then a
the need
consensus
for
will be reached.
any, undue wrangling.
Exactly.
And that's
in the Kyoto Treaty, it was decided that the industrialized nations would have to pay major prices and get rid of all of their industrialization. And China would still not be accounted for.
Well, yeah,
now,
and not
that was
everyone's
an agreement to get out of it, seems to me.
right. Well,
would you want to go back and not have air conditioning or
hang
electricity?
on. We're getting off message here. We're now getting this isn't really a show about politics. This is a show about atheism. But you're right. Not everyone agrees with everything, but it is a constant effort, and it does take a lot of work. And I think that if you don't like what's going on in the United Nations, then become more politically active yourself and do something about it. But listen, we appreciate your input. We have a bunch of other callers on the line, and we really need to move on now. All right. But thank you, Dave. Bye.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they could have just gone on forever.